You don't want that.
Welcome and thanks for joining us at WYCC.org for In the Loop, the after show. Our guests, Alyssa Fraden, co-president of the Performers Union SAG-AFTRA Chicago Local, Bishop Carlton Pearson, founder and executive director of New Dimension Chicago, and Carol Fowler, vice president of content for Viewpoints.com. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Dick Durbin, our senator, is at the forefront of a bipartisan effort to introduce the first comprehensive immigration bill we've seen in a long time, and part of it provides a path to citizenship to the 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country, a long path for some of them, about 10 years for a green card.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, Carol, is this a step in the right direction?
I think it is. I really take heart in the fact that it shows some function in Washington that the parties are working together. The fact that there is a bipartisan group of respected legislators, senators, who have come together to say, we as a group can agree on this. That's the first step. You might disagree with the laundry list of things that this immigration reform compromise, loose compromise, entails, and I'm sure there will be disagreements. But the fact that Washington is actually working on this, I think, is a positive sign.
Is it sad that we have to be happy that Washington is working this?
I think it is. It is certainly. But I think it is a step in the right direction.
Plus, Hispanics are the fastest growing minority in our country, and I'm from Southern California. This has been over 40, 50 years that I've been concerned about my friends and their families and these terrible, it takes so long for these undocumented immigrants to be documented. They need to shorten that process because that would that's an immediate concern, that they're taking these parents, leaving millions of kids without parents in this country. So
you
finally,
mentioned that fast-growing Hispanic voting population, and I'm wondering, Alyssa, is that what has really prompted this? I mean, did the Republicans learn their lesson in 2012?
You know, I was going to say, although I believe a path to immigration is a necessity, I also think it's become that wedge issue for the next big election and for all the elections leading up to it. And I find that to be disingenuous. So you have this gang of 8 that are sitting and hammering out an agreement 10 years. You just said that, Barbara, 10 years to get a green card. I mean, is it going to be that wedge issue? Well, we're for, the Hispanic population. Well, that might not, that's going to affect the border. But what about all the other areas where you have are they going to have the same scrutiny? Are they going to get an easier access? Who is this really playing to? What demographic and what base? And I find that disingenuous.
Part of what's interesting about this is if you look closely at the legislation, it's 10 years for most people, but young people and agricultural workers can fast track and get a green card in 5 years. Is that in some ways disingenuous, Carol?
I think they've crafted a package, to Alyssa's point, that's pure politics. It's a package that can pass. And I think the Republicans they were blindsided by what happened last year. I don't think they saw it coming. And I think they've had, they see this as a huge opportunity to get immigration in the rearview mirror and to move forward and possibly have more success in upcoming elections. So,
isn't it also a very practical question? I mean, could the United States of America run without undocumented workers?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
So they're here.
Of course.
They're here. You've got to deal with reality.
You're dealing with politics, policy, politeness, and policing. They all come from politics.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow.
Metropolis, it has to do with citizenry. So it's something that's unavoidable. And these bad situations, this last election really was a wake-up call for people who, especially the Republicans, who were just unaware. And now they're saying, wait a minute, we got to do something. So I'm glad it happened exactly the way it happens.
But if it's economic based, are we going to then, so you get people a green card, you get them in a sense that they are on the fast track to be naturalized and Americans and be productive in this, will they then shift the economic tide, demand a higher wage, demand certain workers' rights? Because it also comes down to being like a human treatment, like how human rights, workers' rights. Right now, they don't have that. You're on a situation, you're working in a field, you're working in a factory, undocumented. What do? You get hurt? Okay. Now, but then you become a green card, now you have a track record. You know, people can trace you. You're contributing to the economy. You're getting a higher salary or a wage. You get hurt. What happens then? So, I mean, it's great to think about it right now, but I really think it's becoming that issue for what happens in 4 years.
Now the question
years.
is, I mean, if this passes the Senate, will it pass the House, which is going to be a tougher road.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you, Alyssa Fraden, Bishop Carlton, and Carol Fowler. Until next week, good night.